So where was the Anti-Cruelty Society first located?
The first small refuge was opened up in 1904 at 1898 North Clark Street, and then that refuge actually moved several times. We opened some offices at 90 North Sale Street in 1907, and then we got our first permanent building in 1910. Did you want to put the picture up on that one?
Oh, you have...
I have a photo, no?
Nope. I don't have a photo for that one, but we have many other photos coming, don't you worry.
Oh, no, the 1910.
That's this one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
There
Yes.
it is.
It's a little hard to see the front of the building down in the corner, but this would literally have been at 155 West Grand, which used to be called Indiana Avenue. Was the permanent location of this building, and as you can see, we had outside runs in the back, and that remained our building until 1936.
Wow. So how did things operate at the Anti-Cruelty early on? How did it function?
Well, a lot different than today. In those days, we took in animals 24 hours a day. There was actually caretakers on the site that would receive them, that would go out even on emergency calls at night. We actually had a program in the 20s where that was funded by one of our wonderful early people, Mrs. George Weisner, where they put ads in the paper and encouraged people that if they found a stray, they could actually put it in a cab, send it to the Anti-Cruelty Society, and we would pay the fare when it arrived at the Anti-Cruelty Society.
And the cab drivers didn't mind this?
Once they got to know that the fare would be paid, they cooperated with that program.
Wow.
And then later on in 1937, we put kennels in all the police stations as well, so that people could actually go to their local police station with a stray. And then they had a dedicated phone line that came right into the Anti-Cruelty Society, and we would answer those calls and go pick up those animals.
So this is a picture, I think, of one of those kennels?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, say a little bit about how our vehicles changed. The first vehicle that we had was in 1908. We had a motorcycle with a cage attachment on the side. We got our first four-wheeled vehicle in 1914. So even that progressed over the years. Many things have changed over time as far as how we would have cared for the animals.
It sounds like we were doing a lot of different things to make sure that the strays came into us. The
Yes.
cabs and the police stations and going out and getting them and being open 24 hours. And wow, it sounds like we were really working hard to get those strays.
Right.
That's great. So what about the clinic? The Anti-Cruelty Society has a clinic. How long has that been around?
They opened the clinic in 1916, and at the time it was a charity clinic, no charge for the people to use the services, and the first of its kind in the country. And this was all set at a time when there were very few private vets that cared for dogs and cats in particular.
Right.
Most veterinarians were concerned with food animals, with horses, with livestock, because these were valuable property. So this didn't come along until later that we started caring for our dogs and cats as well.
Okay. And Humane Investigations, how long have they been going on at Anti-Cruelty?
Well, we hired our first humane investigator in 1922, a man named Louis Kruger, and if you read about some of the things he would do, it was just incredible. You have to remember at that time that a lot of the things that we have other officials to do, other state and municipal offices to do, didn't exist then, such as inspecting pet shops or inspecting horses. So in addition to just investigating cruelty cases on the streets of Chicago, he was called all over the state. He would investigate all the pet shops, the horse stables, things like there were often rodeos and things that came through town, and so he was doing this as well. He just had an incredible job to do.
And he was just a one-man operation?
A one-man operation initially.
Wow.
I think we do have a picture of him as well.
Oh, yes, we do.
Yes.
And what is his name again?
Louis Kruger.
And how long was he at the Anti-Cruelty Society?
He was with us for 35 years.
Wow.
It was a long career.
Sounds like a dedicated man.
A very dedicated man.
Wonderful. All right. Now, the Anti-Cruelty Society has gone through several different buildings and different space usages. How has that progressed?
I like to refer to the Anti-Cruelty Society as Hogwarts Castle, like in the Harry Potter books, because it just keeps changing and growing, and rooms change, and so it's been added to several times over the year. The first big change was in 1936 when we got a huge donation from Marion and Horace McConnell to build a new building. So the 1910 building was torn down, and a new building was put up in its place, and it was very modern for the time, with a modern clinic and much better facilities, much larger. In 1954, another bequest by the Holbert family allowed us to build an annex onto that building so that we had more room to do our work. Then in 1981, the shelter that many of you will drive by today was built. It was designed by a very renowned architect named Stanley Tingerman, and it was also considered a revolutionary design for its time. But it has also been changed over the years. There's been many renovations over the years to update the facility. But we've continued to add. In 2000, we added a new education and training center, which is on at 169 West Grand Avenue. And then in 2004, we added the Bruckner Rehab and Treatment Center. 2008, we added an additional treatment center called the Virginia Buttsberger Cat Clinic. And we also added a cageless cat room called Charlotte's Cat Corner. So the building itself just continues to evolve as our services grow and the needs for the animals grow.
So the Anti-Cruelty Society has been in that location for how many years?
Since 1910.
Wow.
They'll have a physical
growing,
location.
But,
yes.
Okay.
The organization, of course, existed a little longer, but we did not have these permanent facilities until 1910.